Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Kalia. I teach people how to learn a language quick and travel the world. Today we're focused on something super important. How do you actually start learning a language from scratch? What's the first step if you know nothing? I got you covered. I am learning 4 languages at the same time: Spanish, Japanese, Arabic, and Turkish. So don't worry, I'm breaking it down step by step. So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to begin. The first thing you need to do is pick your reason. Now, as much as it seems like, oh, how cliche, how boring, and as much as you might be thinking, how corny is that? Having a reason and a motivation, having a reason for learning a language will keep you learning the language years and years and years to come. Your reason matters because on the hard days when you want to quit and you want to give up and nothing is making sense to you, it will be the exact thing that keeps you going. Why are you learning that language? Is it for travel? Is it because you want to move to a new place where the language is spoken? Maybe your favorite TV shows or movies are in that language and you want to watch it without the subtitles. Whatever it is, make sure you write it down somewhere. Make sure you write it down somewhere so that you never forget it. The next thing you're going to do is pick your language and then pick your dialect. The purpose of this is so that when you're studying, you know exactly who to mock and exactly what content to take in. If you're learning a language and you're picking a whole bunch of different dialects to get your information from, it might be a little hard because depending on the dialect, the people pronounce things a little differently and they may use different phrases and vocabulary, which might be a little overwhelming for you because in the very beginning you need to stick to one sound, one melody, one rhythm. So make sure you are picking that language but also picking the dialect. So if you're learning Spanish, you're either going to pick the Spanish from Spain or the Spanish from Mexico or the Spanish from Colombia, whatever. Make sure you pick the language and the dialect. Next thing you're going to do is learn how the language sounds. Fall in love with the pronunciation of the language. Make sure you are listening closely to the native speaker and you are practicing the act of shadowing so much. This has a lot to do with how we learned language when we were kids. We started with the alphabet, we started with pronunciation, the sounds of all the letters. So make sure you really hone in on this and practice a lot. An example of how you can study this is you can find a language teacher on YouTube or you can find videos on YouTube. Just simply search up pronunciation or letter sound pronunciation in X language and find somebody who will repeat each sound. And also there are videos out there that teaches you the anatomy of pronunciation because there are sounds in languages that we don't produce in our own language. So you might need to know, is it pronounced from the throat? Is it pronounced nasally? You need to know those things in order to recreate that same sound. And what you can do is shadow this video as much as possible every day until it sounds exactly like the native speaker. And if you are unsure if shadowing is just the act of repeating what the native speaker is saying, really shadowing their body language and their gestures to make those same sounds. And remember, don't be so hard on yourself. Don't worry about being perfect the first day. You will get better over time because trust me, I still cannot recreate that French R. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to pick 15 to 20 new phrases that are used commonly in the language. We are not learning nonsense words like pair and random words that just really serve no purpose to us in the very beginning. You really need to pick up on the hello, how are you, where's the bathroom, my name is, things like that. Because with these new phrases, you will begin to put together or tie together those letter sounds that you have just practiced. And as well as that, I always feel like learning words and phrases in the very beginning definitely boosts my confidence in the language because I'm like, oh, I kind of know something now. And you can also look at yourself in the mirror, repeat these words and phrases, and repeat after the native speaker if you're learning from a tutor or if you're learning online on YouTube, and just repeat so you can just find that melody of the language because every language has its own song, has its own melody, and has its own rhythm. So make sure when you are learning these greetings, you are able to find that flow of the language. Whatever you do, don't try to memorize 500 words. Just pick some words that will be useful in the language that you will use every day, and that's going to be your starting block. And once you've learned these phrases, feel free to interact in the language. If you go out and you're learning Spanish, hola, ¿cómo estás? Hola, ¿qué tal? Feel free to interact in real life because The best way to learn is through experience. So feel free to go out if you are learning the Spanish language and you see someone who clearly speaks Spanish. Just give them a hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Da da da. Whatever you've learned, try to use it in the language, and trust me, it'll be pretty fun. And you will see the look on people's faces when they're like, "Hablas español." Happens every time. The next thing you are going to do is you're going to start a tiny routine, because in the very beginning, when you're first learning languages, it can be overwhelming, and I don't want you to be overwhelmed. I want you to start learning the language and continue to learning the language until you reach the fluency that you would like to reach. And start with small short cartoons, maybe listening to music in the language. This way that you're learning the language passively. You're not actually always sitting and just studying pen to paper with a tutor. Sometimes you just have to take in the language. And in the very beginning, it's easy to do that with music and cartoons because it keeps you engaged and you're learning little by little. Later in the day, you can find a grammar tutorial, or you can find videos where they teach you how to learn a language from the very beginning, and they give you there are thousands of teachers on YouTube in each language that can teach you how to learn a language. So these materials are completely free. So take advantage as much as you can of YouTube so you can learn that language you've always been trying to learn. And then if you're feeling pretty hot, feel free to use the words and phrases that you have learned to create mini sentences and start a mini diary in a language. This has been super helpful in my language learning journey. I have studied languages I have written a diary in each of the languages that I'm learning, and trust me, it's monumental putting pencil to paper, believe it or not. So the very first day, you can start with a "Hi, my name is," "I like to," just a couple sentences to get your mind working in the language a little bit. Well, one of the most important things is to make it fun early. We were learning when we were children, and we would be falling asleep in class, or it'd be hard for us to just really pay attention and focus on what was going on. Well, the reason for that is that, our teacher was not meshing well with our learning styles. So figure out how you learn best. Are you a visual learner? Do you like to read? Do you do better with listening? Figure out what is your learning style so that you can build a routine that fits you perfectly. So you're not bored, so you don't give up, so you remain engaged in the language. Learning a language is not always pen to paper and sitting in front of a tutor. Learning a language is listening to music, watching TV, writing, reading in the language. So feel free to incorporate all of these different things to keep it fun. I loved in the very beginning watching cartoons in the language, because one thing about cartoons, they are very memorable because of the imagery, because of the repetition, and because it speaks slower. So there's a lot more confidence that you can build up because you'll start to understand things without the subtitles. And like I've emphasized before, listen to music in the language. Find your favorite genre in that language and start listening to music. You will start bopping along. You will start catching the rhythm of the song, catching the lyrics, and that will help with your pronunciation, speaking faster when you're listening to these songs. And you don't even have to know what they're saying, but it will help you with pronouncing and getting your mouth accustomed to making those sounds and making those movements with your mouth. You can also follow a creator in that language, even if you only understand 5% of what's going on. That's more than something. It doesn't matter. Your brain is already learning. And my final piece of advice that actually may hold the most importance is to not be afraid to sound silly in the language, not be afraid to make mistakes. I feel like a language learner's biggest downfall is being afraid to speak the language because they're afraid to make a mistake. And this is where I went wrong with learning Spanish. I finally got to Spain after studying years of Spanish, and I could not speak. I could understand everything that was being said to me, but when I tried to speak, it was just like I was tongue-tied. I just was not used to speaking the language. I was not confident, and I just felt silly. It's like most beginners get stuck because they're afraid to make mistakes. And let me tell you, you will sound funny at first. That's normal, but just think about babies when they learn. They babble, they try again, and they get better. That's exactly what you're doing too. So everybody, that is it. These are the steps it's going to take to learn a language from the very beginning. Take these simple steps, and I hope that you reach where you are trying to be in the language. Do not give up on your language learning journey ever. Just remember, Rome was not built in a day. You will not sound like a native speaker within one day. It takes time, it takes patience, and it takes repetition. Don't let anybody tell you it takes 5 years, it takes 10 years to learn a language. You will learn that language as fast as you want to learn that language. If you spend the time and you make the effort to listen to that language as much as possible, keep it around you as much as possible, you have nothing else to do but to take in the language. Work through your diary, work with a tutor, speak the language. You will learn it as fast as you want to learn it. Please let me know if this video pushed you to learn a language tomorrow or tonight, and let me know what languages you're learning so I could give you some tips on how to learn those specific languages. Like I always say, don't say I never told you anything, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.